Nearly everyone owns some kind of mobile device today, and the growing shift to mobile means smaller screen sizes can impact the success of your district and school websites in a very big way. Make sure the mobile traffic to your site is not met with an unfriendly website. Responsive web design is the optimal way to ensure your family of websites can be easily viewed on a majority of browsers and mobile devices by automatically adjusting to the size and shape of the screen it's being viewed on. In this presentation, you will learn some of the significant benefits of responsive design, and we'll take a live tour of some of our clients' beautiful responsive sites. Our guest speaker today is Gina Beisel, Senior Manager of the Creative Services Department here at SchoolWires. Gina has been with us since 2009, building and managing a team of professional and forward-thinking designers and developers. Her team works hand in hand with our clients to create award-winning websites. Gina brings over 10 years of web development experience to her approach to design. Web standards are very important to her, and the ability to code today for the web of tomorrow has kept SchoolWires at the forefront of web development. So without further delay, welcome Gina. The mic is all yours. And Carrie, could you please make Gina the presenter?
Hello. So today we want to talk a little bit more about why we are working with responsive web design. One of the things that we're really seeing in the web industry is the growth of access to websites using smartphones or even tablets. You can see with this graph, kind of a graph, it's more like a little friendlier than a graph. This just shows the growth from 2012 to 2013. With smartphone access versus desktop access to websites. It's a pretty incredible phenomenon, and it's something here at SchoolWires that we want to be very sensitive to. So I couldn't really find a whole lot of statistics with high school students or K through 12 students, but I think that this graph really does speak to the demographic. 49% of people who were able to visit a school's website or a college website on their smartphone had an improved perception of that school. And if they did not have a good impression, it made their perception worse. 47% of the people who were able to access a website at a college or university would return to that mobile site, while 6% said no, they wouldn't. So your presence on a mobile device is extremely an important piece of how you are presenting your school to your community. I think, and as that just continues to grow and grow, as more and more people are owning these smartphones. So right now, a lot of adults own smartphones, but as those smartphones age out a little bit, they are handing them to their students. And then there's also other people in your community that perhaps in the past we haven't thought of being as smartphone users, but your older adults who are raising young children, they are also now getting into this phenomenon where many, many people are going to be coming to your website using one of their devices, whether it be their smartphone. Their children have had a hand-me-down smartphone, so they're on smaller size smartphones. And a lot of people have, of course, tablets, and I know a lot of schools are getting very involved in tablets. So why responsive design over maybe some other solution? Well, there's a lot of different solutions. One is a native mobile app, perhaps, that you would download from the iPhone store or Google Play Store. Those are actually very good options. But even with those apps in place, there will be times when you want to come to the website to dig a little bit deeper and get exactly what the website has to say. And maybe you're sitting in your car at soccer practice waiting for your student or child to get out of soccer practice, and you're going to do it on your phone. And that should be an optimal experience. So the way that responsive web design works to make that an optimal experience for everybody who's visiting your website on their phone is to create actually a version of the website that works and looks great at every view. So one of the, I'm pulled up right here, is one of our library templates. These are available through the SchoolWires library and are very easy to get moving and added to your solution here with SchoolWires. And you can see that this particular template was created so that it would appear at all these different views that you see. It's the 320 view, which is one of your smaller phones, maybe a phone that you had a few years ago that you've passed down now to your, well, this year, my 9-year-old will be getting her first cell phone for her 10th birthday. So this might be how she's actually going to the site, and the teacher has added some homework. So this is going to be a lot easier to use if you can actually access everything that is being placed on the website. The alternative is a non-responsive site, and let's look at how that would look in this same sort of accessing it through a device. So here's a non-responsive site, and as you can see, it's very difficult. You're panning around the page to get to all the information. Even at the tablet view, this makes it very difficult, very uncomfortable to try to pan around, get a really good sense of what's available on the site. Whereas with a site that has been optimized to be seen at all these different sizes, at the 320 all the way up to the 1024. So the 1024 is your basic PC version of the site. So you get all the wow factor. You can have all your rotating imagery, really draw people into your site. At the tablet view, like we have here, you still get a really nice view of the web page. You still get a lot of kind of fun rotating imagery. You got your read mores. You can still page through your pages. But all your content is actually in your window. So you're not doing this sort of panning around inside the window that makes it hard to access the information that you guys are busy out there getting into your website and making available to your parents, your students, your staff, everybody that needs to come to your website. You put a lot of time into getting that information in there. It's really important that people be able to access it no matter what their device. Even at the 640 view, this may be a phone sat on its side, or it may be a tablet standing upright. You want to make that an optimal user experience. So as you can see, we're already starting to close down some of the content and make it only accessible when you choose to look at it. That way you're not overwhelming your user with a lot of information that's hard to get to. It's easy to get to. You can go to your pages. Everything is simple and straightforward. Even once you get down to these smaller sizes. So here we still have the menu items, but as we're down at the smaller sizes, we want to really focus on the content and the content that you want to get out to your stakeholders. And we've taken the menu and we've placed it off to the side just a little bit. And then down at, this is a very typical phone that one of your younger students or even some of your high school students would have, is at the 320 view. And this is actually the iPhone view too, and you know how popular those are right now. So SchoolWires actually has a lot of different options for how you can get into a responsive web design. So this particular web design that I'm showing through these views is a pre-designed site, and it is available in our template library. And when I say pre-designed, what I'm basically saying is it's laid out for you, but there are a lot of options in terms of what you can make these things look and feel like. And then they work at every different view. So just for example, this one was inspired by many of our clients getting athletic sites for their athletics programs. But it's a beautiful template, and perhaps you don't want to use it for an athletic site. You really want to just use it across the board for all your schools. So this is the exact same template, just set up with a different color scheme, different imagery, and you can see just how configurable these are. And each and every one of them work with the responsive web design view so that as they get smaller or larger, you can see how they respond to the overall size of your page, so that you can tab through all the different feature sets and have that optimal experience of being able to get to the content every single time, no matter what device you're coming into the site with. So SchoolWires, we've been doing this for quite some time, and you can see that we have quite a portfolio now of responsive designs. And these are responsive designs that aren't in our library. These are ones that we actually work one-on-one with a school district. And what we like to do is we talk to people. So you're not going to be in a situation where you're trying to write out an email, send instructions over. We actually give you a call. We talk to you. We work directly with you to identify what is it you're trying to do with your website and provide that optimal experience to your users based on what you know, because you are the ones in the schools. You know exactly what your school needs. And then we take those ideas, thoughts, and plan them into an overall design that is going to fit your needs. And again, each and every one of these sites is responsively designed. So as you get down to your smaller sizes, you have the best access possible to the content. Now, as we talk about this, and we talk about human accessibility using a device, one of the big draws for responsive design, and one of the big reasons that SchoolWires jumped into it, was because Google has really come out in support that websites should be responsive. That is because all of your content is still right here on this site. You're never going to lose content. So all the content that you, your teachers, your staff have placed on your website will be placed into this responsive design. All the content is the same. So when Google is filtering or checking to see who has visited your website, if they visit the website on a device, a tablet, it doesn't matter how they're visiting the website. It's recording that view of the website, and it's keeping track of how many people are coming to your site, how people are viewing your site, and that gives you a lot of tools then to improve your content and make your content really pop and really work for the people who are then going to be using the content. So responsive design, same exact website. The difference is in how it's viewed. Again, you can see somebody could visit this website, but they're not going to get a whole lot out of it. It's not until you have a website that can be accessible and viewable on all the different devices that people are really going to be able to access your content. So as you can see here, super easy to go through and access every little part of this website now. Even using the smallest view at 320. This also works hand in hand then with apps that you may download or use on your website, because oftentimes there will be times that you want to actually pull the web page in to get a little bit more clarification. So even with an app, sometimes these pages are getting pulled in, and this is a much better experience than if you would have pulled in a web page that didn't have a responsive experience attached to it. So there are three main reasons why a responsive web design is the best option, or one of the better, kind of a starter option, a core option, I would call it, for getting device access to your website. First, I've already mentioned it, recommended by Google. With 67% of search market share when Google speaks, people notice, and it is considered the industry best practice that all websites become responsive. And I know that we're very busy, and I believe that other people in my position, being a front-end developer and designer, are also very busy. We really foresee in the next 4 to 5 years that all websites everywhere will become responsive. One of the really nice things about responsive web design, because it doesn't look to see what the actual device is, it doesn't care about the device. As you can see here, all it cares about is the viewable area. So And that gives it ultimately the most flexibility. It doesn't matter anymore what the device is. Is it a Windows device? Is it an Android device? Is there a device that's going to come out that we don't even actually know about yet? That's okay. That's fine, as long as they have a browser and they're going to have a positive user experience coming to an RWD-enabled website. And this is one that I hear a lot. It's super easy to manage. Why? Because you're really only managing one body of content. You don't have to go in and have a separate management of the 320 view or the 640 view. You actually will be able to manage this website in one place, that's in Centricity, and all of your management and your updates to that website then come through in a beautiful design, easily to read, no panning necessary, so that you can then come in here and your people who are coming to your website can easily come down through here and have full access to all the information that you're trying to get out to your community. So I just wanted to show some of the more recent work we've done. We have a large body of work that we've been working on over the past year or two. Riverside County Education Academy is one of our clients who has taken advantage of our responsive design. And as you can see, they have a very beautiful, engaging presence on the PC version of their website. But I'm going to shut some of these windows so you can really see this well. As they go down in size, they continue to have a strong, well-branded presence and ultimately complete access to all the content they've placed on their site. The fly-out menu allows us to have all the same feature sets as you would have on the PC version, including a translator, so you can translate this page from one language to another, and you still have a beautiful responsive experience. By bringing things off screen, and many of you will probably recognize this, this is very similar to how Facebook and some of the other big sites do it with an off-screen menu. It gives you complete control as the end user over here for signing in, registering, going back to the home page, going from school to school, while still being able to present all your information in a beautiful, well-branded way. All right, I think I want to stop now, and if anybody has any questions, I am available to answer any questions you might have.
Great, Gina. Let me pull up a few of the questions here. We do have a couple of people that asked about looks like accessing it from Site Manager. Is that where they're able to change out colors and logos and those types of characteristics?
Absolutely. All of our websites are built using a configuration window. So whenever you plan to work with one of our websites, and I can actually illustrate this. I should have brought it up. I think this came up last time we did this. But let me pull up a configuration window very quickly. They're super easy to manage because of the configuration window. It uses a graphical user interface. And in that area, you can change colors, set color schemes, upload logos, just anything that you can imagine doing to customize one of these templates. And I'm actually going to show you using one of our library templates. And all of our custom work is also configured in such a way to make it just as configurable. Okay. So as we go into the back end of the system, Site Manager. We go to the site, pull the site open, and I pull, of course, one that is not using a typical configuration window. So this is your configuration window, and it's just as easy to make changes. So let's go ahead and change that bright red color. Maybe you feel like that's a little bit much. Maybe you want to do something in a purple. Select color. We're going to save and preview that. And you can play with these websites in the template configuration window. It allows you to change all kinds of colors. You have your template colors, social icons, super important right now. This one doesn't have any turned on. You can add social icons down here in the footer. Each content region, you can set the header colors. You can set the font colors. The channel bars, fully configurable. That's this area right here. All these drop-down colors, you can set that. There's just so many different ways to be able to make changes. So here's where you can buy one template. You can do different color schemes for each of your school districts. Each of them have their own logo, and then with the Centricity 2 system, taking all of the guesswork and making this super easy to build out your channel bars, build out your content. It is a super configurable, super easy to use. And again, with responsive web design, you just do this in one place at one time, and then it's reused across the board for all your different views.
That's great. Thank you for showing us that. The next question is about using this in conjunction with mobile. So if you could elaborate a little bit more on, the benefits of having both.
Well, the biggest benefit is the ability to go back and forth. Many people, I know I'm a smartphone user, and I do download apps on occasion. But for a more casual user, maybe not the parent, but maybe the grandparent of a student, they're unlikely to actually have an app that is going to go directly to the school. But at the same time, they may want to look at the school to see when the choir presentation is. Is it on Wednesday or is it on Thursday? They're going to be able to do that through their web browser without downloading any additional software, anything to their phone. They'll be able to go directly to the website and access that information very easily. There is definitely, with the apps, you have some additional functionality that perhaps a responsive web design may not have, but for the most part, when you're talking about your website and getting the data out there, responsive web design does that beautifully and across the board on any type of device. So there are reasons to have the app, but there are a lot of reasons to have that base and core, your website, be able to be accessible from any device.
Perfect. Thank you. How does the responsive design respond to existing tables on a web page?
Well, there are some issues. Sometimes when people add a table to a web page, they actually set the width of the table. As long as you remember not to set widths and allow your table kind of to resize with the size of the viewable area, the results are okay, up to good, depending on how you set your table up. Now, SchoolWires has made the move with the Centricity 2 product to not using a whole lot of tables. So they're using a lot of list items and other little bit more responsively enabled right from the very beginning types of web development. That's not to say that tables can't be managed in a responsive environment, but it is something I think that people who are looking at a responsive template are starting to move away from, but it doesn't mean that they're not accessible. They just may, when they get kind of squished, not look optimal for the experience. What we're encouraging now is because Centricity has, I think, 25 or more apps. There's almost always an app in our system that can be used to display the information you're looking at displaying. And then each of those apps has been considered as we build out a responsive design.
Great, thank you. Can I give someone the right to change the images without giving them access to change the template?
Absolutely. Our image rotators that we use here in the creative department are, like I said, we work with all the different apps in the system. So what we did for the image rotator is we have an app called a photo gallery app. It has a lot of great benefits to using it. It automatically helps you resize your images, uploads images, manages images. So we thought that was a good tool to start with. And that is simply one of the apps in our system. So just by giving a person the ability to place or update that app, it does not mean that you've given them any ability to change or update the template. That's a different set of rules. So it's very manageable. You can give access to the template. You can give access to not changing the template, but setting up the color schemes. And then it goes finer grain, all the way down to these photo gallery apps, where you give one person the ability to change or update the photo gallery app on the home page, and that's the only ability they may have on the website, except perhaps their own personal page.
Great, thank you. Another question. Right now we have a custom template, and we're able to write code freely. Are we able to have that kind of access with responsive templates?
It's the same sort of experience. If you have a custom template, yes, you would still be able to go into what we call Styler, which is where we actually build them even here in-house. It's a great piece of the Centricity 2 application, be able to touch the web page itself and the code behind it. That being said, our library templates are not the same. There are two different areas that you can actually modify the code slightly, but it's not the same experience as having full 100% access to the code that you would for a custom template.
And it looks like we have one more question, so if other people have questions, go ahead and put those in the question box right now, and we'll get those answered by Gina. The last one I'm showing, Gina, says, we have the responsive design template already, but it doesn't look like what you're showing. So what could be the issue there? Probably you just haven't shown all the different templates that are available, correct?
That's correct. We have a lot of custom templates that have been designed for RWD. So if you come to us and you want a custom template, we're going to work directly with you and your representatives at the school to make that a very unique experience for your end user. So yes, yours is, if you have a custom responsive web design now, it is going to be very unique to your situation. And that's the beauty of having the custom work done. Now, we did notice a trend that many people have certain and particular needs. So that's how we came about developing a library, to be able to offer those particular needs that we had identified at a lower price point by being able to place it in a library. But if you have specific needs, or even if they're really not needs, sometimes they're just wants, to maybe make your website really reflect your community, that's when custom design really comes into play. And with the custom design, even the slide out menu, those can be handled differently. There's really no limits to that in terms of design. It's going to be exactly the way you want it, with the caveat that you'll be working with a designer who's experienced in UX design, who may be able to guide you to best practices and still create a very unique experience for you.
We do have a couple more questions that came in.
Great.
So one is from a current SchoolWires client. They're asking, is reconfiguration included if you were a SchoolWires client? or is there a separate contract or fee?
I'm not really sure what you mean by reconfiguration. Most of our templates we have, the only templates that you can't change colors on using the configuration window with any of our new work that we're doing right now would be our Ruby designs, because they were designed to not have a color change in them. Many schools they don't want color changes from site to site. That being said, everything else that we are developing as of right now does use the template configuration window. So we do allow a large group of configurable options, and on a library template, the window that I showed you is a very typical, those are the configuration options we allow. But on a custom template, there may be additional or less, depending on the needs of the individual school or school district that has ordered and has been working with the designer on that project.
Great. And Nancy, I'm going to elaborate, and maybe this is what you meant. Gina, if they have a non-responsive website with school wires, what does it take to get to a responsive website?
Okay, so that one is actually a question we hear a lot. Because of the way that responsive websites are designed and then coded, we really do have to start from the beginning. Even though you may have had a design done recently, there are maybe elements of that design that don't really work with a responsive design. So most times we do have to start from the beginning. You can certainly talk to your salesperson and see what payment options are available for that. But we do need a beginning to end project on that, starting with design and going all the way up through the development phase.
And that was one of our questions too. How long does it typically take to create a responsive website?
Okay, so I have two answers for that. If you go with the library model, then you can have your website up in under a week. I mean, it's very quick and easy. You get your website, and you can come in, you can configure it. We do help people configure websites. So if you have any problems with the configuration window, we'll help you out with that, help you out with your logos. It's a very quick turnaround. So, in a reasonable world, I'd say the turnaround there for a library site is about a month. Now, with custom work, this is going to be a very custom experience. So you're going to want to work with a designer, and you will have a designer assigned to you to work on your project. So there is a certain amount of go back and forth there, and that can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months. After your website is designed, then it will go into development. And as you can imagine, there's a certain amount of development that goes along with any one of these sites. What we found when we looked at all the designs that we did last year responsively is it took about 3 to 5 months on average to actually go from beginning to the day that we apply the design to your site and actually have it available to your end user.
Great, thank you. Will responsive design websites allow push notifications to the visitors?
No, it really doesn't, because what a responsive web design does is it lives in the browser, even on a smartphone. So if you're really looking for push notifications, that's going to be a service that you could get with an app. So it's definitely, if you're looking for push notifications, you may want to be looking at a native mobile app, so an app that is native to the iPhone or the Android device. And that's because the push notifications themselves are sort of the device or a device feature.
Great. And yes, we have a mobile app as a follow-up to that.
Yes, we do.
Yes. With a library site, do I need to re-enter everything that is on my current site, meaning the content, on every single page?
Absolutely not. With all of our templates, your content is not going anywhere. SchoolWires knows that you put a lot of time and effort in building content out in the Centricity 2 system. And we're not going to do anything that's going to interfere with that process. Even as you're working with us on a template, you can be adding to, updating your content. That is the most important thing about a website, is the content. So the look and feel on top of it certainly makes it easier for users to get to the content, work with the content, and enjoy being on your site. But that just kind of just comes down over top of the content. So right now I could switch any website over to this Athletic Inspiration site. Maybe I might have to rearrange my apps a little bit, but all the content's always going to be there.
Great. Can we apply a responsive design to a test of our current website before it goes on our actual website? Kind of like, yeah.
Yeah. That is not a problem at all, actually. You could do that today if you choose to. If you go into the back end of the system, and I'll show you how to do this right now. You go over here to Configure to the Template tab. And even if you haven't purchased a website yet, and I maybe went to the wrong site for this, I'm going to go to a different site. Sorry about that. I'm going to go to my own personal website. So you can go right into your own site right now. You go to Configure Templates. And on the list of available templates down here, you can, and it does it, there's usually a download button. Looks like we've downloaded all of them already. Find one. Download and preview. Once you click on that, then you'll get this preview button right here. And by clicking on the preview button, it's going to load your content into a preview mode of this website. And you'll be able to see what your website looks like with the new template on it. And that's with absolutely no purchase. So you can try on our library templates at any time. And it looks like, I think somebody's probably working on this site right now, to be honest. I kind of hand it out for people to play with sometimes. So that's probably what's happening right there. But again, the window that then comes up here is just like this. And not only do you get to preview it, but you get the whole template configuration over here. So you can preview it on your website, start to play with colors, do some school logo changes, and you will not be charged for any of that until you actually come up and want to license the template. Now, if you have a subscription license, you can use any of the templates, but there's a button right over here that allows you to license the template. Once the template is licensed by your organization, you can actually not just preview it, but actually publish it.
That's great. And a follow-up question to that, can we see in preview how it will look in each size of the screens? So the mobile, the tablet?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, I have a little trick I use for this. I'll show you it. So I'm in the Chrome browser window right here. You can see that. So now that I have this preview mode open in the same browser window, Chrome, now I'm in preview mode. This is exactly what my site would look like with that template applied to it. And now I can see what it's going to look like at all the different views. You can also do that in the preview window, but I don't think it's as an engaging an experience as when I actually have it open in my regular browser window. So you can see here all my content came across. Because of the way it laid out on the page, I may want to move it around, which is a simple drag and drop operation in the Centricity 2 application.
Wonderful. Thanks for that little tip. That's great. And then, can we also preview a custom template like that?
Well, no, you would not be able to preview a custom template simply because the custom template doesn't exist yet. So with custom templates, you would be working individually with the designer and providing them the feedback they need to make that a very custom experience for you. We do have custom templates, but they are sort of owned and operated by the schools that have them, and that wouldn't be something that we would be comfortable. We wouldn't share yours with them, and we won't share theirs with you.
Okay, I think we've gotten through all the questions, Gina. Oh, there's one more. So same person that asked about the push notifications is asking, is that something that's possibly being considered for development later on?
It definitely is. As soon as we could do push notification, it would be one of the things that we would love to do with a responsive web design. And it really is a lot more of a matter of what browsers are capable of. So what we're doing here with responsive web design is we're responding to the fact that smartphones have browsers on them. And we want to make this be an optimal experience no matter what the browser you are using is. Now, when browsers are able to do push notifications to the smartphones, I can definitely see that we would want to get into that space.
Great. Okay.
And that's one of the really nice things, too. Let me just add to that with our library templates. I think when we were on the back end, you may have seen an update button. So with library templates, if a problem is noticed, maybe not by you or your organization, but maybe somebody out in California or even in Alaska says, hey, at this particular view, these two are overlapping. We'll fix that for you automatically. And to get that fixed, you didn't have to report it. You didn't have to use up any of your support credits or however that's managed. It'll automatically come to you. If you don't have the problem, you don't have to hit the update button. But if you do have a problem, you can hit the update button, and there's a whole group of users who are monitoring these library templates for any types of issues, and they're kind of automatically handled. And as new things come open, such as the notifications, that would be a potential that maybe you buy an RWD library template today. In a couple of years, when that technology is available, we can simply add it to the experience you're already having without you having to change templates or do anything on your end.
Wonderful. This was good stuff. Thank you, Gina, and thanks for answering all those questions. That was wonderful.
Great.
Well, yes. Thank you, everybody, for participating today and for asking great questions, and we hope this was helpful for you. If you come up with any other questions that you want answers on, feel free to contact us at sales@schoolwires.com, and we'll get you those answers. And again, look for our email. It will have the webinar recording in there. You feel free to share with your peers. And we hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks again for attending.